Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing another beat breakdown. This is yet another pain or emotional style beat that will be good for Rod Wave, little tjay or Toosii, in that range, more of an R&B style. So I'm going to get right into this. Hopefully you find something in this that will help you be able to create emotional pain melodies like these or similar to them. Let's get right into it. The first thing that I did with this is start with the piano, and I started in the key of C minor, but then later on I actually pitched it down to B flat minor, and I did that with the actual wave itself. But I created the piano here, and it's a simple progression here. The progression here is a simple 1 5 4 3. Then we go back up to the 1, and like I said, we are in the key of B flat minor. If I zoom in here, you can see that we are in B flat minor. And if you don't know your scales, you can go right up here to this little tool and then right click on it and then pick whatever scale you want it to be in. And A sharp is the exact same thing as B flat, but my scales or my piano shows B flat or flat notes instead of sharp notes. If we go ahead and break this down, this is a B flat minor 7th. This is a F minor 7th. We got the E minor 7th and a D major 7. And right now it sounds really low, and that's because the volumes are actually turned down, and I'll get more into that later. But if you look at these, I know it looks a little bit complicated, but if you look at these, what we're really doing is just kind of doubling up notes that are already in the scale. So if we were to take this is the 7th of that, but if we were to take this F here and bring it down one, you see this is just a regular old B minor 7th chord. The same thing with the F here, the F minor 7. If we were to take this A and bring it down an octave, it's in its original voicing and looks like this. Same exact thing. So that's basically what I'm doing here. Is I'm just taking chords or notes that are already in the chord and I'm inverting them and I'm doing different voicings with them. The bass notes are still just going down and straight down. And as you can see here, I cut up some of these notes just in the middle or just before the middle to kind of give it a little bit of a different bounce. You can see it's right here, and you can see it's right here. It's also right here, because if I were to bring this back down, the same thing, but I'm just doing it an octave higher or bringing it an octave lower. So that's just a little extra bounce that I added to it. And those chords are actually repeated all the way over into the second part. Now where it differentiates is right here at the top, this top melody. And the top melody is more of a call and response type thing. All of this is going to be a call, and this is going to be a response to that call. And this is also going to be a call. And this is going to be the response to that call. And I'll let you hear it, but basically what I'm doing here is I'm just using notes that are already in the scale and already in the chord. But this right here is a different chord. This is a whole different chord that's up there. This is actually a D major chord, just a D major triad, and at the end of it, it turns into a 7th just by adding this C right here at the end of it. But this is basically strummed out to sound the way that it sounds. And the reason this chord works so well over this chord is because if you pay attention closely to the chords that are being, or the notes being used, D, A, and F, all three of those are the exact same chord notes here, D, F, and A. So that's why that works so well. And when you play it all together, it sounds like a little melody at the top. That's why that works so well. It's basically using other notes in the chord. And that's the same thing I did here. I just kind of built out. This is really a trial and error kind of thing. I sat and played around on the keyboard a little bit, and then I also came in and drew some in just to kind of give it a cohesive sound, should I say. This is the call. I'll let you hear the call, and I'll let you hear the response. So this is the call and response. This part called up to this part, and then it also resolved there. Same thing on this area here. And as you can see, this part right here All of this right here is the exact same thing. So this is just copied over. If I was to take this and move it over here, it's the exact same thing. It's just copied over twice or once. So that just made it easier. This is easy to do because I only changed up this part here, and I did kind of work this in a little bit, but then I decided to just copy this over. I copied this part right here over to that, and it just kind of sounded good, and it went right back into the one. And what you want to pay attention to when you're making melodies like this is the velocities, right? You want it to sound more humanized by kind of bringing some of those velocities down and some of them a little higher. And then you also want to make sure you're kind of doing a strum. Now me, I manually strum these so they don't look so or sound so robotic or whatnot, but you want to kind of put some of these notes off the beat, off the grid some, and that's just going to kind of help give it that live sound, that human feeling. Right. The next thing I did with that was I actually sent that to my mixer channel to mixer track 1, and I put a couple of effects on it right here, as you can see, and then I just kind of highlighted this and I hit Alt Art and rendered it out to make it the wave file that it is now that you see here. And when you do stuff like that, it gives you like some more, you know, abilities to do other things where you can get real creative. I decided to keep it that way, but the only thing I did was pitched it down from the original key, which was C minor. I pitched it down to B flat minor, and other than that, that is all I did for the piano, or the first part of the piano. The second piano part is that exact same thing, but I took out a lot of the top notes, so we just got a few things going on at the top, and this is what it sounds like. So not very much going on in that, and that's just to kind of give it more room in the bridge. And I use that in the bridge of the song, and it's only a few times here, like once here, it's once here, and I think it's once here. So it's not very many times going on in there, but that's what that is. The next thing I did was added strings to it, and these strings are also well, everything here is native to FL Studio besides the vocals. So if you go to packs, instruments, orchestral, you can find those string section, and it's just a direct wave. And the same thing with the piano. Piano I use is a direct wave. Just go here and just go to keyboards, and I use the grand piano. So I can pull that up here and I'll show you. That's the grand piano. And the string section looks the exact same. Now I did do a few changes to kind of make it sound like a pad by going to zones, and I pulled up the attack a little bit so it comes in a little later, and I also pulled up the release a little bit. Got stumbled on that one, but to kind of make it sound like a pad. And then all I did was just copy those bass notes, or those root chords, should I say, all the chords from the piano, and I just put it in the strings, and it sounds like this. Simple, nothing too much, and it didn't take too long. I also ran that through the same processing on this channel, but I did it without the fruity delay. It was just the parametric EQ and the reverb, and then I did the same thing, highlighted that, Alt R, and I made it into a wave file. And wave files, like I said, there's more you can do with them, but there's also the thing where I do have a PC, but sometimes, you know, having all that MIDI going on and all those plugins open, it kind of makes your CPU load suffer some. Now I don't have that issue now, but I do like to kind of keep my CPU load down, so I do prefer to export into wave files. And I also tend to take these same exact melodies and these same exact loops, and I put them in my sample pack here, so that when you purchase it, you can also have these loops and you can do what you like to do with it. So it's a little bit of a process. So it helps me to create those sample packs, those drum kits and whatnot, also out of doing the instrumental itself. So I can kill two birds with one stone type of deal. After that, the next thing I did, I actually ended up finding this vocal on Looperman. I wasn't there looking for a vocal, but I kind of came across it, and here, I'll open it up real quick. Kind of came across this vocal, and it's originally pitched, well, I pitched it up about 600 cent, and this is what it sounds like without effects.
What are you looking for? You like what you see? I won't be nothing more than just what you need. I'm still hoping that things will be the same.
So you can hear there's a part in there where it says, I'm still hoping, and then there's a part that says just what you need. And that's what I chopped out. I chopped it up to make it sound like that, and then I put these effects on it. I'll show you real quick what it sounds like with the effects and everything. So it has the fruity parametric EQ. I cut out a lot of the highs and a lot of the lows, most of the lows. Then it has the Panamatic just going back and forth to kind of give it that surround sound or that space that it's moving. And I added some delay to it, and then I also added some reverb. And the way I blend my delay and my reverb is I make it very wet, like the reverb is very wet, and the delay is also very wet. And then I use these knobs here to blend that into the actual signal. And it doesn't sound like much while it's by itself. I'll let you hear it real quick.
I'm still hoping just what you need.
So without the music, it sounds like a bunch of gibberish, but when you actually put the music with it, and I'll just throw a little bit of it with it here, it sounds like she's saying hoping, which she is. This part, she is saying hoping, but the hoping was a little too slow for my taste, so I separated it here, made it unique, and then I shortened it up, so it sounds like she's saying hoping all at once. And then here, I cut out the ing of it, and it's just I'm hope, just what you need. And this part right here is her saying I am again, but it's saying it so quick that it sounds like hope I'm still all that you need. I hope I'm still. It's the way it makes it sound when the music's playing. So I'll let you hear what that sounds like with the music. So before, it doesn't sound like much, but once you actually put all that together, it sounds like she's actually saying something. And basically, just manipulated the sample to sound like that. The next thing that I did was I added the guitar, and it actually only comes in here at the end of the song. I'll show you real quick. Right here at the end of the song is this little portion here. And then that little lick that is right here is also played in that. I just kind of cut it out and made it into a loop or into a wave file because I just wanted to use that lick, and that's what this lick is. It's from the guitar itself that I laid down, and what I did with the guitar was I just laid down some chords or some notes that basically go along with the vibe of the song, the progression and whatnot, and I played it with my controller. So I played it on my piano, but I have my controller where it's linked to the knob, the pitch knob here, and I was able to move it and bend the pitch while I played. And so here you can do it manually also down here, and I have a video that explains it if you want to know more in detail about that. Then I just added some effects to that guitar. I put the hardcore on there. These are all native, so hardcore, which is the preset in hardcore that I created myself, which will be in that sample pack. Also added some more reverb and a fruity parametric EQ to it to cut out some of the lows and some of the highs. Very simple. And the guitar that I'm using in this is a classical acoustic guitar, which you can find in those same areas with the pack. Most of the time, I'm going to use native flstudio VSTs and plugins and whatnot. So in most of my videos, that's what you'll see. And this is what it looks like here. The next thing that I did was I created this percussion loop, and I did it using some different percussion that I have, like different packs, or I do believe they all came from the same pack. But what I did was I laid that percussion down first into different patterns, and then I actually sent it all to one track, exported it all out, and this is what that percussion loop sounds like. And that percussion loop is also going to be found in the Jooce Box kit. So if you want to get your hands on that, this kit will be dropping early June. I want to say June 1st. And all of these loops are going to be in there. All of these percussion hits and the drums that I use are also going to be in there. But that is the percussion. And then the drums is really simple and straightforward too. I have a kick, And there's a first half and a second half that goes to this. But this is just the first half of it. And I also have, I'm sorry, that's the second half of it. And I also have an 808. And both of these came out. This is my Jooce Box Kick 13. So it comes out of here. And then I'm also using my 808 12, the Jooce Box 808 12, which is basically a spin off of a Spins 808. I just kind of did a little different to it. But anyway, this is what they sound like together. And I also have another instance where the 808 is playing, but it's playing a lot higher than the rest of it. And that's actually right here. I put it up a little higher because I like the way that sounded, and this is what it sounds like. And it's just one octave higher. And other than that, I didn't do too much. There's a first part and a second part to it. And I just followed the scale that's going on. So I'm just following those root notes, just kind of coming down on it. And I'm making sure that I land on those notes. So as you can see right here, there's a B flat. But I don't go directly from, well, here, B flat. I don't go directly from the B flat straight to the F. I go kind of walk down it. So 1, 2, and then we walk down it, and then we hit on the F, and then in the next chord. So it's more of a trial and error kind of thing there. You got to do what you think sounds good, and that's what I did here. This is the octave higher. And then, of course, I added my snares and my claps and my hi-hats, which I'll let you hear all of those together. And all these came out of my Jooce Box kit. I'm going to turn the 808 back off. That's like the first half of it. You'll see I have quite a few snares here. I got a clap. I also have a snare here and a snare here. This is a counter snare, but this snare is also following the clap with just some extra hits in between, but that's what it's there for. The hi-hat was a pretty straightforward kind of deal. I laid down some 2 steps, and then I just kind of edited, can't say the word. I just kind of edited some out and threw a couple of rolls in there and pitched a few of them down. After I did that, I just kind of highlighted everything, and I hit Alt-R, and that was to randomize the velocities on it. So that's how we get this sound. So, and it's really just the same thing, kind of repeat it all 4 times, just not to do too much, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much the beat. I put a couple of risers in there, a couple of automations. Oh, before I forget, there's a part here where I did something different. This part right here, this little loop is basically a compilation or compile or whatever, consolidated track of everything minus the guitar and the drums. It's got some percussion in it, but this is here because I threw an automation on it to kind of give it a new effect, that underwater effect. And there's a way that you can do the underwater effect with another plugin that we have in FL Studio, but it was too robotic for me, and I kind of wanted it to be a little bit different. So I did this. I consolidated those together, and this is what it sounds like. And what I did was I took my parametric EQ and put it on that same track there. I made an automation clip for it, and this is the automation clip right here. I'll bring this over. This is the automation clip, and I did it manually so that I could get it to sound the way that I wanted it to sound, and this is what it sounds like together. And it's able to, it just gives it that nice underwater vibe, and it's kind of following how I want it to go. You can still hear that voice or that vocal over it. And then I just threw a couple of transitions in there and whatnot. But other than that, the transitions are really just backward cymbals. So if you find a good cymbal and reverse it, you got a good rise. Other than that, that is this complete beat. At the very end, I did add that guitar like I told you earlier right here. That's the only thing that's different. And then at the very end, I also had this master volume kind of fade out, but this part is just repeated here and here. So it's the same thing, basically the outro. And I kept that one guitar lick. But I'm sure you want to hear the entire beat now, so I will let that play for you. Once again, thank you so much for watching. And like I said, my Jooce box kit is going to be dropping in June, probably most likely the 1st of June, and it's going to have a lot of these loops in it, a lot of percussion, some extra drums and whatnot that you won't be able to find anywhere else. So make sure you get that when it drops, and stay tuned for more. And here's the rest of the beat.